In today's news, over 180 CCTV cameras are being installed across the BVI. Police chief confirms new recruits to start in July. Financial services performing well, says Premier, and he presents numbers. The BVI government seeking at least 3 medical schools for the British Virgin Islands. Sister islands of Anegada and Jost Dyke to get a 24-hour doctor 4 days a week. All residents who receive stimulus must submit reports on how monies are used. Fahie admits aspects of the government's records were not up to date or were not being kept up to date. No update on farmers and fishers list. Mr. Malone of TRC addresses the public. Police chief confirms new recruits to start in July. Summer Sizzle BVI 2021 prepares for a spectacular fashion, lifestyle, and wellness retreat. All this and so much more when 284 News returns.
Father Jesus, that line here long like church service.
Alright, do enjoy the rest of the day. Next customer line, please. Wait, hold on a second.
Yes, Sonny boy, come, yes,
Good
son.
morning.
Good morning, Sonny boy. Hold on there. You must have cut front of people.
It's okay, I'll take care of it.
What? No man to take care of me.
How may I assist you? You want top of power?
You want top of power?
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top of power?
Welcome, everybody. It's Friday, May 28th, 2021. I'm Ron Grant coming to you live from Roadtown, Tortola. A happy Friday to one and all. Thank you so much for joining us. Beginning on the local scene here in the British Virgin Islands, residents of the 6th Electoral District, including Fort Hill and Boggers Bay areas, were awakened in the wee hours of Thursday morning to several gunshots sounding off. The Royal Virgin Islands Police Force say they are investigating the shooting that occurred during the wee hours of Thursday, May 27th, 2021. The Royal Virgin Islands Police Force received several reports around 1:30 a.m. and in responding to the reports, a number of shells were recovered at the scene. Officials shared that no injuries were reported. The 6th District has been the home to multiple shooting incidents and robberies within the last few months. Investigations are continuing. More to come as the details become available. Effective June 1st, 2021, the British Virgin Islands Ports Authority will add an additional ferry trip between St. Thomas and the BVI. The proposed supplementary ferry service will depart the BVI at 11 a.m. daily and return at 2 p.m. from St. Thomas. Now, the current schedule allows for one trip per day, leaving the BVI at 8 a.m. and returning at 4 p.m. from St. Thomas. Now, the agreement to add an extra trip was generated out of a meeting held on Thursday, May 20th, between the BVI and USVI officials. Now, the additional service is in line with the port's commitment to increase the number of daily travelers as the port continues to expand its passengers processing capacity as per the current COVID-19 protocols. Already, the Ports Authority has moved to increase passengers' capacity from 50 to 65 on the exiting ferry services. Now, this increase will take effect tomorrow. It took effect on Thursday, May 27th. BVI Ports Authority management met with ferry operators earlier in the week to discuss the changes, citing the need to ensure that all systems on both sides of the operation, such as advertisement, logistics, and protocols, are in place for any increase in service schedule. Now, the ferry operators suggest June 1st as the commencement date for the additional trip. The BVI Ports Authority continues to reach out to the engaged stakeholders in this new normal as it looks to restructure its operations in lines with the demands of the pandemic and likely post-pandemic period. In a recent press conference held on Wednesday, May 26, 2021, Leader of Government Business, the Honorable Andrew A. Fahie, divulged that as many as 3 medical schools are expected to be established in the near future in the territory of the Virgin Islands. He said, "We see that if we can safely have about 3 medical schools at the most operating in the BVI at one time, not in the same disciplines, but in other areas, because remember, you have different types of medicine that you can have, fields of medicine that you can study in. Premier Fahie said. Now, these schools are anticipated to have a physical office in the BVI and will each be covering a different medical discipline, complementing, of course, each other in the educational services being offered and not competing with the state-owned H. Laverty Stout Community College. These institutions, once receiving approval, are expected to begin operations in the BVI by the end of 2021. Premier Fahie said, and I quote, "We have professionals that are on the ground now that are teaching at those medical schools that will be able to complement our medical professionals here." Premier Fahie noted that the process for the medical institutions have already begun, and he is seeking to ensure affordable rates for locals in order to be trained within medical fields in a variety of medical disciplines. Now, when asked by our newsroom on whether or not there will be a cap on the number of medical schools in the territory and whether the amount is appropriate for such a small territory, Fahie opted not to say. The Premier also alluded that the BVI is a hot commodity in this area, stating that there are other medical schools knocking at our doors that are also going through the process, he said. All of the details about the medical schools are expected to be comprehensively presented to the public by the end of June, allowing, he said, for significant economic growth in areas such as medical tourism, emphasizing that he expects revenue surplus generated will be huge. He said, and I quote, "We want to let persons know that the more of the medical schools that operate from here, we have to make sure that we understand more apartments will be rented, more rental cars will be rented, or even purchase cars, grocery stores. In the grocery stores, the economic spin-off, he said, is going to be huge." Fahie is confident that the professionals coming will be trained in areas where the BVI could use some help and may even be able to help on the ground to assist in cases of emergencies and training sessions at the state-owned Dr. D. Orlando Smith Hospital. Now, in that very same press conference, Minister of Finance and Leader of Government Business, the Honorable Andrew Fahie, proudly reported in that conference that the territory's main source of income through the financial services industry is performing well, despite the global pandemic that is COVID-19. Based on the statistics for the first 4 months of this year, Fahie said the numbers indicated that the financial services industry is coming back strong. He said, and I quote, "I am happy to report that the financial services sector has been performing very well in the first 4 months of 2020. Between January and April 2021, the Financial Services Commission revenues has exceeded $50.6 million. It is above the $42.6 million realized in the same period in 2020 and just below the $51.1 million earned in 2019. In fact, in April 21, the FSC generated $19.1 million compared to $11.5 million in 2020 and a $15.3 million in 2019. Fahie said that these are all positive signs of the territory's economy and for the people of the BVI as we continue navigating through the worst pandemic in over 100 years. While adding, of course, your government, he said, is mindful that we have to be prudent in managing our expenses and our spending, and we must make careful and wise decisions to ensure that the territory gets the maximum benefit and the best value for money in whatever we do. We have to ensure, he said, that we are hitting the targets. All this, viewers, and so much more. Still ahead, we have the sister islands of Anegada and Jost Dyke to get a 24-hour doctor 4 days a week, and all residents who receive a stimulus must submit reports on how monies are used. Honorable Fahie admits also aspects of the government's records were not up to date or were not being kept up to date, and still no update from him on the farmers and fishers list. All this and so much more after word from our sponsors. Viewers, you're watching 284 News.
The win.
What the hell?
I'm freaking out.
Is about these people.
It's always a pleasure coming to you live and direct from the
What's poppin'? What's really good?
Davis has won it for the Lakers.
Gentlemen, aspiring gentlemen, and our partners that hold us down. It's season 2 of The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman, taking you on the most inspiring journey with the best and brightest distinguished gentlemen of the BVI. Raw, real-life lessons that translate to grounded, community-minded, well-rounded men like you've never seen them before.
Governor Augustus J.U. Jasper, Jovan Klein, Neil Klein, and so much more. Turning modern-day men into 21st century distinguished gentlemen with yours truly, Ron Grant, a 284 Media production.
Viewers, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. In that very same press conference on Wednesday, Leader of Government Business, the Honorable Andrew A. Fahie, stated that the sister islands of Anegada and Jost Van Dyke are set to have an assigned medical doctor on the islands 24 hours for 4 days a week. He said, and I quote, "This will be extended within a month's time to the island of Jost Van Dyke. It is time for our sister islands to have a doctor on island 24 hours a day," Premier Fahie said, adding that this takes effect on Friday, May 28, 2021. This is in hopes of soon having a doctor on these islands 24/7. This announcement comes as great news to residents on both Anegada and Jost Van Dyke, as the lack of a consistent doctor has been the ongoing problem and a significant concern to residents. Our newsroom spoke to a resident and businesswoman of Great Harbor, Jost Van Dyke, who said, and I quote, "It's about time. It's not good at all that we haven't been able to have our own doctor. Things happen, emergencies happen, and to visitors and residents, and it is embarrassing and scary. So this is good news. I think we feel a lot better and safer when it comes to our health." Now, Fahie said that even with limited resources, the government continues to stretch in order to meet the needs of residents, particularly during the pandemic. He said, and I quote, "For years, through successive administrations, our sister islands have been without the regular services of a doctor on island. Your government," he said, "has taken the decisive step to correct this situation." We're happy to hear that residents on Anegada and Jost Van Dyke will have access to a doctor more consistently. Continuing on, the Telecommunications Regulatory Commission has launched a campaign to educate the Virgin Islands community about the functions of the Commission. Recently, the Commission has seen an increase in public outcry concerning the quality of telecommunications services in the Virgin Islands. With the renewal of the network provider licenses, the TRC is taking the time to educate the public, saying that they are being completely transparent about the process. Adhering to international standards after 15 years, the TRC is now able to review the licensing process for telecommunications operators. The focus is on the development of the industry and ensuring that the public's interest is protected. Now, the Commission's overall goal is to create public awareness about the TRC role within the industry, educate and inform persons about the licensing process for communication services and their providers, and gain confidence in the Commission's operations. I had the opportunity, viewers, to speak with a CEO, Mr. Guy Malone, and we covered a number of aspects to this TRC and its role. Take a look.
The TRC is a statutory body responsible for regulating the telecommunication industry. We also do spectrum management. We administer domain names. We advise the minister on policies relating to telecommunication matters, issues at international, national levels. And function as the Chief Executive Officer of the Commission, I am responsible for the day-to-day management, administration, and overall operations and resources of the Commission. Ron.
All right. Now, the TRC's mission has always been to facilitate high telecommunications infrastructure and services standards in the Virgin Islands. Are you pleased so far with how the organization has been doing in this regard? Where exactly is the TRC as it pertains to facilitating high telecommunications infrastructure services standards in the BVI?
You asked, Ron, if as the CEO of
Are you pleased? Yes.
Yeah. You always strive for excellence. And, along the journey, there are pit stops, which, as I always say to my staff, we will learn from it and we will do better. Where the telecommunications in the region, I would say, international, national, where telecommunications stands in the BVI, we are somewhat 3 to 5 years behind that of Europe. So when you look at the way telecommunication has evolved, a small country of the BVI having issued 4 unitary licenses, it's a challenge for the small staff that we have. we wear a lot of different hats with respect to the, regulating licenses, regulating the industry with respect to, quality of service, with respect to adhering to the public cry, with respect to receiving value for money. So the Commission over the years has tried to keep up with the growing technology, because in the field of telecommunications, you'll find telecommunications services evolves and regulations follow. So we always have to keep a keen eye out there with the world, keep in touch with the world, benchmark with respect to what is happening. How can we encourage, how can we engage the operators that we regulate to be on the cutting edge, to provide quality service, to adhere to customer complaints, and to, most importantly, adhere to the information that the Commission always requests from them. Because I'll give an example. When there are statistics out there, we want to ensure we didn't make it up. We get it from the operator, because the ITU knocks on our door on a regular basis for update on information. So we want to ensure that we have a partnership, develop a working partnership. We don't want to be seen as a regulator with a big stick trying to push things down the operator's throat. We want to work with them to let them understand that it's important that we develop a partnership, because at the end of the day, the BVI is a country that depends on people knocking on our shores to invest, and we want to ensure we have quality and first-class telecommunications service.
Understood. Now, telecommunications providers' license are up for renewal. Tell us about the renewal process.
The renewal process, in the telecommunication world, a license is granted for a 15-year period. And Ron, you say 15, some people may think that's a long time. But I'll give an example. When an entity comes to any shore, whether it's the British Virgin Islands, whether it's any other region in the Caribbean or in the world, they make investments of upwards of $25-30 million, to put infrastructure in place to develop, to deliver services. And at the end of the day, that 15-year license is giving them an opportunity to get a return on their investment. And along the line of that, the process is not just for 15 years and then we walk away and say we're going to talk to you 15 years after. The regulator has to ensure that we regulate the operators, and by saying that, compliance is key. Everything that the operator do, we have to ensure it's with respect to the license, the same 15-year license that we negotiate, consult with the operators to give them. Because a great example is in 2007, when we liberalized the market, by 2010, that's when the internet really took off. And here we were with regulation that govern things. As I said, technology evolves and regulation follow regulation. And we constantly have to be updating, revisiting the legislation. But it's a process that we have to work with the operators. So now we are going through the licensing process, where we have revamped and looked at the application process, because it's key with all the information we should and have to receive from the operators. We have done that. We are in the process where we are receiving applications now to go through the process. It's a process that's outlined in the Act that we have to follow bit by bit. So where we are now, we are receiving application. We're going to be reviewing it, and there's a process where we have to engage with the operator. We have to put the information, certain information, out to the public to be consulted on, where they would be given a chance to comment, and we have to look at these comment and we have to respond. So, Ron, it's a process that we have to work with operators. And I would say what is key in the licensing renewal process is the operators must be and should be in full compliance.
Understood. What would you say is the importance of a TRC to the telecommunications industry, and how does the Commission seek to really aid in its development within the local market, which you just mentioned? a little bit about the local market.
The TRC plays a very important role because at the end of the day, an operator invests. Customers knock on operators' door for services in order to communicate. And as in this day and age, your cell phone is everything. I remember when I was going to school, I would have to go to the library to research something. If you have a conversation with someone today, they can just go on their phone, on the internet, and that information is provided instantaneously. So it's important that the TRC plays a very important role with respect to guiding and ensuring, regulating that the operators understand. It's key, customer is key, because even if it's $1 they pay for a service, they should get value for money. And when I say value for money, it don't mean that you just give me a service and it's good. How you treat the customer, ensure that the customer is happy, ensure that the customer understand, because an example, a customer might go off and they might use services and not understand that there are limitations, and when they don't get the service that they think they should get, they should come to the operator and have a conversation with the operator and say, hey, this is what my contract said, but this is what's happening. The operator has an obligation to satisfy that customer. If the customer is not satisfied, then they should forward that complaint, escalate that complaint up to the regulator, which is the TRC, and it's our duty within a specified given period to consult with the operator in question to ensure that the customer is satisfied.
Viewers, that was Mr. Guy Malone, CEO of the TRC. Premier and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Andrew A. Fahie, recently reminded all residents who have received stimulus monies from the government that they are required, based on contractual agreement, to submit reports on how such monies have been used. Fahie said, and I quote, "I want to remind the recipients of the various economic stimulus packages that when they received the funds, they committed to providing statements to confirm how they would utilize the funds provided and to provide data on the impact this funding support has had on their ventures." He continued by saying, "Please do not delay in sending this information back to the ministry so that we can have all of the paperwork and complete our report to account for what you have done with the monies you have received." Admitting that there is room for improvement, Fahie stated that the COVID-19 has exposed flaws in the system. He said, and I quote, "I must say, though, that COVID-19 exposed a number of flaws and weaknesses within our systems in the BVI, in particular certain areas of reporting and statistics. COVID-19 exposed that some aspects of the government's records were not up to date or were not being kept up to date. And one area where this happened is the registry, mainly for the farmers and fishermen. When asked on the update of the authenticity of the farmers and fishers list that has caused much concern throughout the territory, Fahie stated that the persons who were engaged in the farming and fishers and for one reason or the other did not find themselves on the list at the ministry, and some of them have been farmers and fishers for many, many years. Now, he believes that because of the stimulus, the government has now been given an opportunity to see its shortcomings and will seek to have those listings updated. The objective, he said, is not to stir up any blame game or to point fingers at any public officers, but to finally get it right. The objective is to take what we have learned and to strengthen the system, because we need to build our resilience in a world that is going through economic shocks and catastrophic climate events." That was the Honorable Fahie. Viewers, up next, over 180 CCTV cameras are being installed across the BVI. Police chief confirms new recruits to start in July, and Summer Sizzle is about to take center stage. All this and so much more after a word from our sponsors. You're watching 284 News.
Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
Viewers, welcome back. Thank you for sticking with us. During the recently held press conference, Police Chief Mark Collins confirmed that some 180 CCTV cameras are presently being installed across the territory of the Virgin Islands. This comes as welcome news to businesses and residents after the territory has seen a series of robberies and deadly events in the past months. These CCTV cameras will be used in the fight against crime and serve as a much-needed resource to help strengthen the efforts of the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force and will be shared amongst all 4 main islands. He said, and I quote, "We've started the rollout already. The fiber optics lines and the cables and the poles are going up. Of course, there will be another 10 cameras on Virgin Gorda, as well as we've got the go-ahead to the contractor to start that work as well. Also, the force sees 10 additional cops from other islands outside of the territory assisting with ongoing investigation. And Top Cop says there are officers from the Cayman Islands here and from the UK. In total, it will be about 10 officers that are going to assist the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force. One of the growing concerns as it pertains to fighting crime in the territory has been its human resources. This will improve as the force will see 17 new police recruits starting in July, many of whom are locals. Police Chief Collins added that there are other roles within the force to be filled, and he plans to continue the recruitment process in collaboration with the Deputy Governor's Office. Summer Sizzle BVI 2021 returns this year for the 12th anniversary, July 21st through the 26th. The British Virgin Islands offers the perfect getaway to relax, relate, and release after living through the global pandemic for an entire year. Now is the perfect time to come together and reset, have a good time, and enjoy the island's natural beauty as we provide the perfect getaway in a safe communal environment. Summer Sizzle BVI's 2020 spectacular fashion, lifestyle, and wellness experience will light up the island with a schedule designed to showcase local and international fashion designers and feature collaborations that explore the seamless relationship between art and fashion. The Runway 4-day event includes the Runway Unique Fashion Show, festive parties, delightful cuisine, fabulous entertainment, a chartered sailing excursion, and a health and wellness retreat. Now, the very highly anticipated Global Glamour Runway Show remains the staple highlight of the event, showcasing well-known international and emerging fashion designers. Now, of course, viewers, in case you missed it, I was joined by 2 of the Virgin Islands' best and brightest to speak on the upcoming event. That's Summer Sizzle Ambassador Liliana Reimer and Trafel partner Miss Alexia Penn. To check out that interview, you can visit our Facebook page as well as our website at 284media.com. In addition to the full interview by TRC CEO Mr. Guy Malone earlier in the week, I also spoke to the BVI CCHA, Miss Kiaya Penn, Kiaya George, that is, who highlighted a number of activities that are taking place within the BVI CCHA, mainly an upcoming meet and greet breakfast event, which will be held in collaboration with the Governor of the Virgin Islands, John Ranking, as well as members of the Security Council, really bringing businesses and residents up to speed on what is being done to protect the territory from ongoing crime. These are very informative interviews, and as you know, our Facebook page and our website continues to be jam-packed with a lot of content, not only locally, but regionally and internationally as well. Viewers, that's it for today's news roundup. Be sure to follow us for your daily news updates at 284media.com and like us on Facebook at 284media and 284BVI, on Instagram and Twitter. I'm Ron Grant. It's always a pleasure. I will see you on Monday as we deliver your daily dose of local, regional, and international content. 284 News, your source for honest and impartial news right here on 284 Media. Happy Friday, guys. Have a good evening and an even better weekend. Bye-bye.